What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, Under Center with Abelson, presented by the Real Spiel Podcast. We got a little midweek reaction. I'm recording this on Tuesday night. The official first college football playoff rankings have came out. You'll most likely be seeing this on Wednesday, but we're going to go over them, react to the rankings. We finally don't have to deal and lean on the AP poll anymore. We got the college football playoff poll. Just off the initial, before we get into anything, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Trying to gain those subscribers, trying to build a following. So if you like this content, do not forget to show some love. But yeah, this is going to be a quick show, nothing too long. We're just going to go over the rankings, give you guys my opinion on where teams are ranked, if I like where they're ranked, if I don't like where they're ranked, if a team's too high, if a team's too low. Again, this is the first ranking. Typically, by the very last final ranking, this is not going to look anything like it did today. But it's always fun to react because we got meaningful rankings, and these are going to be the rankings we use to determine the 12-team playoff seed. So without further ado, though, let's get into it. So the top five really doesn't look much different. I think everybody expected and pretty much figured it would be, pretty much this order. There was a little conversation between Ohio State and Indiana. I definitely don't mind them leaving Ohio State at number one. Indiana could deserve. Let's go through the rankings first. Ohio State at 1, Indiana at 2, Texas A&M at 3, Georgia at 4, or Alabama at 4, Georgia at 5. We got Ole Miss at 6, BYU at 7, Texas Tech at 8, Oregon at 9, Notre Dame at 10. We'll come back to that. Texas at 11, Oklahoma at 12, Utah at 13, Virginia at 14, Louisville at 15, Vanderbilt at 16, Georgia Tech at 17, Miami at 18. We got USC at 19, Iowa at 20. Iowa finally getting some love. We got Michigan at 21, Mizzou at 22, Washington at 23, Pitt at 24, and then Tennessee at 25. First and foremost, again, like I was saying, between Ohio State and Indiana, there's not real. I know a lot of people were saying, Indiana should be number one. Yes, I think Indiana has a slightly better resume and have looked a little more impressive than Ohio State has. But Ohio State hasn't played bad enough to drop down. That's why I think, and that's why I'm fine with Ohio State still being one. Ohio State's been dominating not maybe just as much. Maybe Indiana has been winning by, a larger margin of victory. But Ohio State has still been handling every team. They've allowed less than 10 points a game. They've damn near won all their games outside of Texas by double digits. So Ohio State hasn't slipped up or has not done anything to justify getting bumped down and moved down a spot. So that's like, nitpicking, ticker tack. If you want to put Indiana number one, feel free to. If you want to put Ohio State, feel free to. A lot of people were saying Texas A&M was going to jump up to potentially number one. I just really wasn't buying that. Texas A&M does have a good resume. They beat Notre Dame on the road. They beat LSU on the road. But I still think Ohio State and Indiana have slightly separated themselves from Texas A&M. You got Alabama and Georgia, obviously staying where they're staying. Let's see. I guess let's just talk about some stuff that initially caught my eye. I think one of the first things that initially let's get the cat out the bag. Miami and Notre Dame. I was hearing a lot of chatter just around like college football media that there's just no way they put Notre Dame above Miami. Obviously, Miami beat Notre Dame. They have the same records. Miami has the better resume with wins over Notre Dame. They got a win over USF. They have a win over Florida State, whatever you want to do with those two, compared to Notre Dame's only good win being USC. But I didn't think they were going to put Miami above Notre Dame because just depending on the 8 people, like it would be hard to do that, especially with like you got to put Louisville into the mix because Louisville beat Miami. Then you got to rearrange some other teams, and it's just like there wasn't a lot of wiggle room because you would have either had to put Miami way up, like around 10, 11, 12, 13, or you would have had to put Notre Dame way down, like maybe around 15, 16, 17, or whatever. So I just didn't think, like, based on where they were initially ranked in the AP poll, and I know the college football playoff doesn't base it off the AP poll. I just didn't think that there was a lot of wiggle room to throw Miami above Notre Dame. With that being said, though, I do think I'm not mad that Miami's not ranked above Notre Dame, but I do think Notre Dame is being I don't want to. I was gonna say severely overranked, but they are being overranked in my opinion. Because I mean, if we're being honest, why is Notre Dame ranked above teams like Texas or Oklahoma or even Louisville? Like, why are they ranked above those teams? They have 2 losses. They're ranked above multiple one-loss teams, ACC or not. They have 2 losses. Their best win is to USC. Like, that is their only, not even like their best win. That's their only good win. Boise State, okay, you can do what you want with that. Arkansas, no, they're 2-6, 2-7. Like, their only one and good only win is against USC. So I don't even think Notre Dame has a better resume than Oklahoma or Texas or Utah. Like, I think Utah has a case to be ranked higher than Notre Dame. Virginia, Louisville, like, maybe not Virginia because they don't have really a top tier win, but Louisville, like, so I think Notre Dame is too high. They should not be 10. And if they, in my opinion, if they were moved down a little bit, maybe if they were ranked, like 13 or 14, then I think that's a conversation where you can say, okay, we can justify putting Miami over Notre Dame. But it's kind of weird because the committee definitely valued head to head in every other scenario except Miami and Notre Dame. Virginia over Louisville. They ranked Virginia over Louisville. Virginia beat Louisville. They ranked Texas over Oklahoma. Texas beat Oklahoma. They ranked Georgia or Alabama over Georgia. Alabama beat Georgia. They ranked Georgia over Ole Miss. Georgia beat Ole Miss. So I think that, to me, that kind of means that the committee doesn't think, I guess, Miami and Notre Dame's resumes are comparable for now. Like, I'm just trying to think, because every other head-to-head scenario, they ranked the team who won ahead of them. So, like, is it because Miami's playing bad right now and Notre Dame's playing good? Is it because Miami's lost 2 of their last 3 games and Notre Dame's won 6 in a row? I'm really just trying to figure out why they didn't respect head-to-head in that scenario. Because, again, they have the same records. Miami has a better resume. They have better wins than Notre Dame. They have a win over a current top 10 team being Notre Dame. So that just, I don't know, it's just a little puzzling. Again, I'm not, because eye test has to matter. It's not just, I think the eye test has to matter a little bit. And you obviously see that Miami is not playing like a top 15 team right now. They're just not. They have a good resume. A lot of the stuff they did early in the season, but it's a long season. If you're good early in the season and you're bad late in the season, does that make you one of the top 12 teams? So I think that's the reason why they kept Miami lower, is just because of the fact that you can clearly see with an eye test that Miami is not playing great right now. Obviously lost 2 of the 3 games. So that's probably one of the biggest eye openers, just biggest things that kind of surprised me. Utah, man, they showed Utah some love, man, throwing them at 13. They got, let's see, Oregon. Oregon's another one. I've been on record for weeks, man, talking about Oregon. I like Oregon. I think they're a good team. I think they, are a national championship contender. But I think they've been overranked, man. They were being overranked in the AP poll. They were sitting at 6 this whole entire time. My reaction to the Week 11 AP poll, I literally said, like, I would put Ole Miss ahead of Oregon. I'd put BYU ahead of Oregon. Texas Tech and Oregon, I'd probably lean more towards Texas Tech, but I wouldn't be mad if Oregon was above Texas Tech. But I'd definitely put BYU and Ole Miss above Oregon, because I think they have better resumes. They have like Oregon's only good win now is that Penn State win. And and it's gonna all work itself out. Oregon, they play USC. I think they still play Washington. They still play Iowa this week. So that's going to work itself out. They're going to have the opportunities and chances to show that, hey, we are a top 5, top 10 team in the country. But up to now, I mean, dog, your best win is Oregon or Penn State, and Penn State is their season is in disarray. So I'm glad the committee threw them at 9 because I thought the AP had them way too high. And you can already start seeing that the committee does not rank their rankings based off what the AP has. The committee uses their own set of criterias, and you're gonna start. I think you'll start seeing the AP aligning with the committee's rankings. Because again, Iowa's at 20. Iowa should have been ranked. They should have been ranked last week. They should have probably been ranked the week before. Washington's getting some love. They got Utah pretty high. Pitt should, I think, definitely be ranked. They've won 5, 6 in a row since they made that quarterback change. I still don't think Tennessee should be ranked. I do not think Tennessee should be ranked. Kind of talking about Notre Dame, like Tennessee and Notre Dame are kind of in the same boat. Like you both lost to really high ranked teams. You haven't really beaten anybody. At least Notre Dame has a win against a ranked team, but Tennessee, your best wins are against Syracuse and Arkansas. Like Syracuse and Arkansas, I think. Mississippi State, I guess. You have 3 losses. I just don't really know why Tennessee is still ranked. 3 losses, no quality wins, losses to your 3 best teams you played. I don't think they should be ranked. But I am glad Pitt's ranked. I'm glad Iowa's ranked. I'm glad Washington's ranked. I'm trying to see, man. Texas and Oklahoma, I think, again, you kind of have to, when resumes and records are comparable, you kind of have to go towards the head-to-head. They're both 2-loss teams. Texas beat Oklahoma. I do think Oklahoma still has a slightly better resume. Obviously, they beat Michigan, they beat Tennessee, but Texas, they do have a good win against Vandy, and they have, clearly the win against Oklahoma as well. So I'm not mad about that. It just, I don't know. For whatever reason, I haven't fully come back around on Texas actually being a top team, just because of the way they've kind of been playing, going back-to-back overtimes against the bottom, 3rd teams of the SEC. But hopefully that Vandy win may have started something up with Texas, and they can kind of rally back and claw their way back in. They got a tough stretch. They still have Texas A&M and they got Georgia, so they got a tough next couple games. So I think again, a lot of this stuff is going to work itself out. Texas, you play Georgia and A&M. We're going to find out if Texas is legit or not. We're going to. That's going to work itself out. A lot of this stuff is going to work itself out. Like Oregon, you play Washington, you play Iowa, and you play what else do they play? Washington, Iowa, and USC. That's going to work itself out. And again, this is the first one. There's going to be a lot of changes. We still have a lot of season left. It doesn't feel like it, but 4 games. A lot can happen in 4 games, and a lot of teams are starting to get into the meat of their schedule. So there's going to be a lot of changes to this. Trying to see. Let me go through my notes. Yeah, I'm trying to. I actually do want to get into just the projected brackets as they stand right now, just for kind of fun, for shits and giggles, because I know it's going to change. But right now, as it stands, you would have, you'd have Texas A&M or Texas Tech playing Oregon as the 8-9 matchup. So Oregon would travel to Lubbock to play Texas Tech. You would have Notre Dame going to BYU in the 7-10 matchup. You would have Georgia and Memphis in the 5-12 matchup. And you would have Ole Miss and Virginia in the 6-11 matchup. Winner of Texas Tech and Oregon would play Ohio State. The 1 seed winner of BYU and Notre Dame would play Indiana. Winner of Georgia and Memphis would play Alabama. Winner of Texas or Ole Miss and Virginia would play Texas A&M. So you could have potentially Ohio State versus a rematch, Ohio State versus Oregon. Notre Dame traveling to Provo. BYU Utah hosting a home playoff game is pretty interesting. One gripe that I do kind of have though, because I still haven't fully, I don't know, I still haven't fully bought into home playoff games in the second round. I love it in the first round, but the second round, it just kind of feels like, because on the one hand, I do like you should reward teams for doing well in the regular season by giving them home playoff games. But in college, man, it's not the same as the NFL. You see a lot of road teams win in the NFL. It is so hard and rare. Not rare, it happens, but like it is so hard to win on the road in college football. So maybe I'm tripping, but I feel like it would be too much of a disadvantage to have like second round playoff games at home. Where you got like Ohio State, Indiana, Bama, Texas A&M at home. But on the other hand, which was the reason I brought up the initial point, it's kind of messed up that the top four seeds, I know they get the bye, but it's kind of messed up that they don't get a home playoff game. So I'm kind of on both sides of it. I would like to see another or extra home playoff game, but I kind of don't. But it does kind of suck that the top four seeds, I know they get the byes, but it sucks that they don't get to play a home playoff game, even and they're rewarded with the top four seeds. Just something interesting, but yeah, I think this was going to be a quick episode. That's pretty much all the main points I wanted to touch on with this first official ranking. Not really any other major concerns. Again, this wasn't bad at all. Like the only potentially questionable thing, in my opinion, was Notre Dame and the Notre Dame and Miami situation. Outside of that, I honestly think it's pretty perfect. Like pretty perfect. You know. So yeah, this is the first one. We got 3 or 4 more to go. We're getting into the real meat and potatoes of the season. Teams are coming to play for conference chip games. So you don't want to miss any of it. We're going to be reacting to all of it. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are here a couple times a week talking all things college football. I appreciate it.